Greetings, mortals. Your half-demon overlord has come before you to grace you with another art video. On more serious terms, hoi there, it's me, Rain. Many things were learned over this past month because of this drawing challenge. Many mistakes also made, the main one being my participation in said challenge. Welcome to making my life unnecessarily difficult while I copy 10 artists' art styles. I don't perfect my art, I just finish it, which means I will inevitably come back to it later and realise how bad some of them look. Lucky for me, I picked a pretty difficult character. Black people are just a pain in the ass. To paint, of course. They don't reflect and absorb light the same way light skin tones do, and they can end up pretty contrasty in certain light scenarios. I'll walk you through this in alphabetical order, since that seems the most interesting. For some reason, the artists with more complex styles and skill have names that begin with letters that come after R in the alphabet, which means I guess I'm screwed by default. ABD Illustrates. I'd say I hate this one the most, but it comes very close to another piece in the series in terms of things that shouldn't exist on Earth. ABD Illustrates, or Alex, actually has a lovely style, which I butchered. Dark skin doesn't really help when it comes to cell shading. The drawing, not me. I'm not amazing with cell shading anyway. I always do it, but it never really feels quite right or impressive. I honestly don't know how Alex does it, or if I just did a terrible job at copying his style. I know for a fact I might have been better off with different coloured line art and better line weight variation, but besides that, I'm rather bewildered. He doesn't exactly have a lot of tutorials either, so I really went into this blind. And you know, maybe I shouldn't start the video being so negative about my art, but I also shouldn't still have my wisdom teeth after 6 years of them deforming my jaw. There was so much I wanted to replicate and pull off with this, but this was my best attempt at the time. At least the rosy light thing looks pretty. Cyarine. I actually like this one. See, I don't hate everything. I think I did what I was set out to do, and little Akari here looks pretty cute. I should probably say this character is called Akari, and she's best friends maybe with Kuriyami, who's actually this girl right here, but more emo. The streaks of orange in her skin look a little weird, but not in an off-putting way at all. I like how Cyarine does her hair and eyes. Super delicate. I wish I had a cute style like that and not just drawing everyone to look dead inside, but I'm probably projecting. Eric Anthony J. Didn't like it. Next up, Jun D. No. Okay, copying Eric taught me a lot. I've probably forgotten everything I learned, but the drawing had two main aspects that form my opinion on this. The idea of this drawing was great in concept, but the outcome was super awkward and creepy. What is she doing looking at me like that? Her stare is violating and her neck is kind of not working. Do I have some anatomy problems I need to iron out? Yes, what am I going to do about this? I don't know. What am I going to do about my wisdom teeth? The other aspect is colour and rendering, which I actually love, and I am super proud of that. It would just look nicer on another drawing. Eric's style is kind of realistic, especially in terms of colour, so I did end up colour picking from a photograph, and I'm glad I did. Unfortunately, I wasn't brave enough to try adding some stranger, more saturated colours to the image. Besides pink, Eric Anthony does that a bunch, and it looks good every time. Gladly I didn't forget her choker. I've forgotten it a lot in other drawings. I tolerate this piece. Jun D, for real this time. Both Kuriyami and Akari get to be drawn in Jun D style, except I like one of the drawings more than the other. Guess which one? This one has little to no contrast, and that hand and arm is so bad, but besides that I like it. Jun D style is so magical and pretty, it'll save anything and everything. This drawing just needs a lot of work when it comes to colour and contrast. Artists don't usually draw characters that dark, and they also don't draw curly hair a lot, so I couldn't always find something to reference. Gladly, Jun D does have some curly, wavy hair drawings and dark skin drawings, so honestly it was just purely my own incompetence why it didn't turn out better. I could have mentioned that for anyone else, but I didn't. Don't get me wrong though, I don't even draw curly hair and dark skin a lot. It's just a very specific thing, and I have a wider range of things I want to draw than that. I couldn't really find white hair in any of Jyundee's drawings, so very disappointed in her for being so exclusive. Loish. The bottom half of this is awkward, but the top is pretty cute. I was watching an old Loish stream, and wow, that girl is hard to find anywhere that isn't Instagram. I was super lucky I found that old stream recording, and even luckier that someone recorded it. She has this very specific, repetitive way of drawing faces, and I really should take more tips from her, because my faces look flatter and flatter by the day. I don't mind how low contrast it is because it kind of is reliant on line art and it doesn't come across as me being bad. The hair was so fun to paint and mess with. Thank God I had something to follow along in terms of how to draw in this style, or I almost certainly would have wrecked it. Melody. I have nothing bad to say about this. I have so many tutorials on Melody's Instagram, I couldn't possibly go wrong. I think it turned out so cute and colourful, and I love how freaking sparkly her eyes are. I have never drawn eyes like that before, but I love it, and I want to do it forever, but I'm damn lazy, and I want to be a bit more creative when it comes to having my own original style. We'll never get over those eyes though. I'm super pleased with everything else. I used a really sweet brush. I found that honestly changed up my line art abilities. Brushes are surprisingly more important than I ever would have guessed had I not done this treacherous challenge. Qinniart. I think the name is Qinniart. This one I got printed on my debit card because my bank is cool like that. So you might have guessed that I like this one a lot, and you'd be utterly wrong because I love it. But more than that, I love Qinniart's art style. It's rather traditional, so I went out my way to draw on a paper textured background. I photographed one of my sketchbooks actually. Might have been cheap watercolour page or something of the sort. And I also went out my way to use a pencil brush in Krita. Now, it's my favourite brush. I really never am experimental when it comes to brushes and textures, so it was really nice to mess around with that kind of stuff. The hair reminds me of spaghetti, but also cheese, and I mean that in a very aesthetic way. I love how strands of hair melt into each other in a really unnatural but pretty fashion. Very fun to draw. The only thing I can really complain about is how young I made Akari look. The arms are just so small. I did the same with Mel's art, but it's generally very chibi, so it doesn't read as a child in the same way. Of course, I also couldn't get enough of making everything super glowy and dreamy too. Ross was a massive pain for me. Not only do his videos skip a very important detailing and cleaning up step, but he never really pays huge attention to the sketch part either. I know he probably has better tutorials on his Patreon, but I have no money and I don't have a job anymore, so I wouldn't have access to that for a very long time, if at all. Honestly, I don't watch Ross as much as I used to. I don't learn much at all from his videos these days. I did check out his few tutorials though and ended up with the same missing out a lot of info problem. As derpy as this drawing ended up, it's not god awful, so I'm not too mad. I had to use a lot of my prior knowledge to try and pull everything together after Ross left me outside in the wilderness to fend for myself. Definitely not my favourite piece though. Sinix. Sinix has been senpai for so many years. I do like how this piece turned out. Not sure if I can say the same about the contrast, it's a tricky one. This was highly inspired by his Zelda piece, but it's also a lot of guesswork on my part. They're very different characters if you discount the elf aesthetic. It turned out very geometric and heavy with the line art, but I like that about Sinix's style. Super interesting. Of course I took the opportunity to include flowers where I could, but forgot the choke yet again. I did however get to draw a cute belly button, which I never usually do because all my OCs are God's Christian children who never show off their bodies. Very stunning work. I did that ripping off Cynics. I'm proud of myself. WLOP. WLOP. That's how I say it. Please tell me how wrong it is in the comments and I won't do anything about it. WLOP's art is beauty. It never used to be as in proportion as it is now, but it was still so beautifully rendered. WLOP starts in grey, so I tried that and struggled a lot. Found more tutorials and I followed those and struggled even more, but I'm not mad. I think it turned out pretty good, and the blue sky colours reflected everywhere just adds to the realism. The eyes are super glowy and I love glowy fantasy stuff. The arms are a bit dodgy, but it doesn't take away too much from the piece since it's not monstrous. I'm rather chuffed at the detail I got in this too, so I'll take the opportunity to call this one a success. Oh, the sweet sound of people unsubscribing. This video reminds me a lot of college because for me it started off bad and finished bad. This last piece I hated a lot. I'm very sorry for my crimes, Yuumei. This is piece 11, which was made because ABD Illustrates turned out really unfortunate in my opinion. I wanted something to replace it, but instead I got my joy replaced with utter despair. I had no idea how I was going to pull this piece off. I thought I had the chance since I found some okay tutorials, but it didn't end up in my favourite at all. Krita's blending modes and art filters are definitely not as powerful as the ones in Photoshop, so it was never really going to have the same flair as Yuumei's work, unfortunately. unfortunately. I still should have ended up with a better piece though. Anime really is not my forte. My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined. Here are the pieces in their final 1080p glory. This video is probably going to be 720p just to spite me, isn't it? Yeah, probably. My software isn't that great.